The biggest murder investigation, the longest in the history of the state. What am I talking about? The callous murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue at Lordship Post Office on the 25th of January 2013. And the irony of the whole thing, Adrian wasn't supposed to be working the shift that night, but the good man he was, in he went, put his shoulder to the wheel, and he paid with his life. A new book, I have to say, it's fascinating, it's brilliant. It's so detailed, called Murder at Lordship, is on my desk, and I've had it for a while and read it by Pat Marry and Robin Schiller. And one half of the team is with me today. I'm delighted to say hello to Pat Marry. He joins me in studio, retired detective inspector who led the investigation. Pat, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Sherry.
It just, when you read the book and you think of fate for people, Pat, the fate of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He was a lovely guy. I knew him through the football, Pat.
Yeah, he was a top class gentleman, like, you know. He was a magnificent detective, a lovely guy, nice fella to chat with.
Retired detective Pat Marry, we say, is mentally unwell. He is somewhat unstable. He is completely delusional, and he is a liar. Now, this is our first look at the book created by Pat Marry and Robin Schiller. How to Make Money from Your Murdered Friend and Colleague is how we have rebranded this disgusting piece of literature. We started with the LMFM podcast purposely, because obviously it's the local station. Pat Marry has been on the rounds. He's done several podcasts, been on several radio stations, peddling this book where he's trying to make money from the death of his colleague and his friend. And as I say, we started here with LMFM, and even in that opening clip, Jerry Kelly tells us that he knew Adrian Donoghue through football, and he had admiration and very good respect for Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue. And as a journalist, I am sure Jerry Kelly and his staff, or the staff at LMFM, must do due diligence and investigate and do some investigations into those who are coming forward. Just reading the book that someone is peddling sometimes isn't enough, particularly when it is about fact, true life, and something that has actually happened and happened here locally. Fictional book, it doesn't make any difference. People are selling the stories, the author, that's fine. This is supposed to be fact and detail into the investigation into the murder and robbery at Lordship Credit Union. So, once again, we have to ask the question, does Jerry Kelly or no one at LMFM, are any of them aware of the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign? And again, it shows the willingness of the mainstream media to simply ignore the questions and the serious issues raised by Aaron's campaign. And if the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign was telling a tissue of lies, and if everything we were saying, or even if anything, not everything, just if anything we were saying was incorrect, then I think it should be brought to the public's attention that we are in some way being totally disrespectful towards Detective Garda Adrian Donoghue and trying to stand up or justify his murder. And as we have shown through over 400 videos, nothing could be further from the truth. So this is the reason why we started with LMFM. We will be going through this. We're going to have to make a number of videos about this podcast, because some of the stuff Pat Marry claims in it is absolutely horrendous. The man is mentally unstable. And he is just making things up as we go along. So just to get into his frame of mind and a very simple thing we're going to listen to now, another little bit of the clip. And all I want you to do is just remember this little bit here. When we listen to Pat Marry in this next little clip. So just keep this in mind as we listen to Pat Marry.
You faced him in the court. You put the charge to him.
Yeah.
How did you regard him when you looked at him?
Oh, he was a pathetic little creature, like, small little man, of no significance, full of his own importance, like, he was a nobody to me. That was it. We had caught him and charged him. I charged him with the capital murder. And that was my last charge sheet in the Guards, because I came up then and I handed in my retirement papers that same day, within the hour, within half an hour of that,
This...
A small, pathetic little man, insignificant. So, as we have always said, as these people continue to peddle this story and try and justify themselves, as what happened with Mark Phillips and Ronan Flynn, the lays and the cracks start to appear. Because how can Pat Marry justify that statement? Because Pat Marry would have been looking down on Aaron. Most people look down on Aaron because he's only 5'6", nearly 5'7". And yet, we know the man who shot her mother, Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue, was over 6 foot. 6'1", and I've told through the campaign before that a silhouette showing like this and signed off by Joe Ryan said 6'3". We have confirmation from a credit union worker that seen the radar running out of the car park. He was long and athletic. So this is what happens when you continually tell lies. Your story makes no sense and you will trip up. And again, the building on the premise of all the lies and the omissions, we look again at Pat Marry's narcissistic tendencies. He's after charging Aaron Brady with the murder of his friend and colleague, Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue. And the first thing he does is, and we've seen pictures of Marry holding up on one hand he has Aaron's charge sheet, on the other hand he has his retirement papers. And he tells us this is within half an hour of charging Aaron. He goes upstairs and retires because it's all about him. And it's very, very important to understand how unstable this man is, because when we look in, particularly in this podcast, when we look into some of the details in it, you will see how, and we will highlight how himself and Sergeant John Maroney made a complete mess of the initial part of the investigation, which led them down a rabbit hole that led nowhere, and he simply makes up stuff as he goes along thereafter. And just to finish on that and create the base for the instability of this man, just listen to this last little bit of his podcast with LMFM and see, is this the words of a man who was a team player, was worried about those he's actually speaking about here, the lads in the barracks, the Irish public, the local public? Or is this about me? Is this about me, Pat Marry?
Wife and his children and all his extended family who lost a wonderful man on that night.
Yeah, and when I was retiring, people said, you won't retire. I said, look, I've kept my word. I said I'd stay on till I solved it, and when I solved it, I was retiring. I was getting out. I had enough of the Guards, and I said that was it. I didn't let Adrian down. I didn't let his family down. I didn't let the lads down in the station. I didn't let down the people in Dundalk who stood on the streets and applauded the coffin as it passed. And I didn't let down the public. And I was quite happy that I had done my job professionally, and that's it.
Pat Marry, thank you so much for dropping into us on Late Lunch this afternoon. It's number one in the charts at the moment, and I ain't surprised it is.
Number one bestseller. Get out there, sell the book. get some money. And Jerry Kelly is quite obviously at the very beginning of that clip, leading in and asking Pat Marry to give a eulogy or a few words about the man whose life was brutally taken at Lordship Credit Union, Detective Guard Adrian Donoghue. And bang, he goes straight into, I didn't let the people down. I done this. I stood up the lads in the barracks. I did public. I done this. So I think the clip speaks volumes, and that is the foundation as we move forward and show you the lies, the omissions, and the absolute ludicrous claims and accusations Marry makes in this short podcast. So we will be coming back and looking at one or two in a number of videos, one or two different points he makes that's complete lies and inaccuracies and omissions during the course of the podcast. And we'll bring that to you very, very shortly. Thank you for watching. Please, please, please like, comment and share. We are being very, very heavily censored because we are telling the truth. That is why the authorities are attacking Aaron's campaign. That is why Jerry Kelly, LMFM, will not raise the point of the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign and ask people like Pat Marry, is there something to this campaign? This is what the Bradys are saying. This is what Aaron Brady's saying, because Pat Marry cannot answer those questions. It's very simple. And again, another example of pathetic clickbait journalism with a pathetic clickbait, narcissistic retired detective. Thank you very much. See you all in the next video. Thank you.